Selena. It's a vibe, baby. Oak Cliff girl, can't make you change my world. Damn, you're so fine, girl. Oak Cliff girl, put them heels on and rule.
Welcome to Selena's Couch, where you are welcome to be free to be yourself. So you can lay your head on my couch, on my pillows.
It's all good, we can do whatever we wanna do now. I'm in my bag right now, and I got a feeling, babe, yeah. You're gonna be my number one lover. Spending the night making love to each other, with the lights on top of the covers. Just me and you, babe. And I feel like you're my
Love you to Reese's Pieces.
Get you a word. Nana nana boo boo.
Hello. Thank you guys for coming through. One of my favorite people, Swifty Swift. Thank you for coming through, Swift. I know you at the barbershop, so thank you so much for coming through and showing your girl some love. Thank you for those that pressed the like button. Hey, Lionel, how are you? Thank you. My homeboy Kevin did it for me, so I appreciate him. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that song. So he put it with my video. So I really liked it. Hey DJ, what's good? Even though I'm gonna throw some tomatoes, imaginary tomatoes at your bum, but I'm not gonna let you interrupt my flow, okay? But shout out to everybody. Hey Shay, good to see you, Shay. I saw your live earlier. Keep doing what you're doing. Just we all got to stay focused and on the prize, the higher calling. So hey, just stay doing what you're doing. Hey April, good to see you. Good to see you, Miss April. Miss April doing big things. What's up, Lon? Guys, if you are a moderator and you have your own channel, please put your channel in the chat as well as other people. Shay has a channel. Shay Love, Lionel, and April has a channel. Thank God DJ Memphis doesn't have a channel. Hopefully he will continue to stay in the chats. So yeah, so if you could do that for me, if you have the time and you're available, I would really appreciate it. If you don't know how to do it, I understand. But definitely put other people's channels in the chat. Listen, y'all, it's about to be 2025. I don't know about you, but I am definitely waiting for it. I'm not going to say excited. Hey, Markeisha, Happy New Year. Now, Markeisha been knowing me forever. Shout out to Markeisha. Yes, indeed. I'm glad to see you. I hope all is well. I hope your Christmas was good. I hope your New Year's is going to be even better. I know to me, I'm going to just say God is doing some new things. I'm a little rough around the edges, but I'm definitely looking forward to this coming year. I know God is really going to be working with me a lot on communication. Can you believe it, guys? Markeisha knows this. That I was just I could be extremely aggressive. Did y'all know that about me? Back in the day when I was, I was in middle school, high school, and I was kind of aggressive. I was blunt. I was, rude a lot of the times. And as I got older, and people say, hey, you need to kind of calm it down a little bit. You a little too aggressive. You a little too rude and a little too blunt. So then I became passive aggressive. I still at certain times have a passive aggressive side. And I'm going to explain to you what being passive aggressive is. It's basically saying something negative that you want to say, but saying it in a not so nasty way. They call it nice nasty. So you're expressing some negative feelings. Hey, Ricardo. Hey, Ricky. You're expressing some negative feelings about a person, but you kind of doing, as they say, subliminals. You're not going all the way, or you're just doing it in a nice nasty way where, people don't really know who you're talking about, but you're really talking about that person. Yeah. So I went from being aggression to being, just blatantly rude, off-putting, to passive aggressive, where I can be nice, nasty with you. Then now I'm learning to be more and more assertive. And being assertive is basically just telling the truth without being just rude or, just being aggressive in any way. So say, for instance, if Ricardo offended me, right? And it's something that he did. And it's now aggressiveness would be, if I'm being aggressive with Ricardo, I'd be like, nigga, why the hell you do that? Like, that was stupid as F, right? That's aggression. That's being aggressive. Passive aggressive would be, well, some people just don't know how to treat people. I mean, some of y'all men, y'all just be saying and doing any kind of thing, and I don't appreciate it. Hey, King. Assertive would be, Ricardo, I'm a kind of person, I try to, I'm going to say this in the best way that I can because I respect you. I know you respect me, but maybe you don't understand how this certain thing maybe hurt my feelings, right? So, Ricardo, when you did this, you really offended me. You really hurt my feelings, and I don't like that. I'm just letting you know how I feel about the situation. What you said, A, B, and C, it was very offensive. And you might not see it that way, but that is my perception of the matter. And I can only tell you how I'm feeling about it and how I felt disrespected. That's being assertive, right? So you have 3 different styles that people operate in. And sometimes we operate in all 3. It just depends on our moods, what's going on in our life at the time, what that person did, what's going on around us. It depends on a lot of different factors, right? But for the most part, one of us, we're dominant in one or the other. Some people are dominant being aggressive. That's the only thing they know. You in the hood, it ain't too many people. Let's talk it out. Let's have a conversation. They're going to be like, bitch ass nigga, bitch. They're going to go in, because that's what they've been taught. That's what they're used to. That's their environment. Aggression, right? Hey, Robert, how are you? Thank you. I hope that you sub up to me. I appreciate you. And some people, that's what they know. They know how to be aggressive because that's just how they've been brought up. That's all they've seen. So then some people are dominant where, yeah, I'm gonna tell you how I feel, but it's gonna be in a roundabout way. So it ain't really offensive, but I'm gonna get my point across. And yeah, that's how I feel. Okay. So you have that. Some people are dominant in that, and that's passive aggressive. And some people look, I'm learning, and this is something that is learned, right? So part of learning how to communicate a little better, which most people, we all think we know how to communicate, but at the end of the day, we're all a work in progress. Some of us know how to communicate a little bit better than others. So the assertiveness is something that we learn. It's a learned behavior. It's not, it's something that we have to sometimes mature in, right? You can still tell a person how you feel without just being rude, without being nice, nasty. There was a situation that happened yesterday when I was talking to young Riaz, and some of you may have seen the conversation that I had with him. I was very straightforward, but at the same time, I wanted to consider his feelings, right? I also wanted to consider the people that were actually listening to what I was saying. Okay. My goal, and I said it originally, was not to be offensive towards him or to hurt his feelings. I also talked about his strengths and the points of his growth. that I've seen growth in certain aspects that we have talked about previously, right? But then I also wanted to make him aware of some of the things that he needed to be made aware of that I was seeing that could be a hindrance to him, his channel, or just showing him how he has to learn how to read the room, right? So I was speaking in an assertive tone, at least I thought, and I tried to make it clear to him and everybody that was listening that was the goal of the conversation. That was the goal of the conversation. The goal wasn't to make him feel bad. The goal wasn't to make him be like, get your ass off these panels. It wasn't, or you might need to maybe chill a little bit. Nobody wants to hear a lot of that. It's just, no, that's not the goal. The goal was to make him aware, right? To give him constructive criticism, but to also say things in a way where it is not confrontational, right? That's the goal. If you are on a job, you cannot handle what you do on a job. You can't say what you want to say on a job that you can say at home, right? It's a part of reading the room. It's a part of learning communication, right? When you're talking to a mate or somebody that you might end up becoming in a romantic relationship, there are certain ways that you communicate. You don't communicate with that person like you're communicating with a child. And even with children, there's ways that is more effective than others, right? Sometimes you got to get that stern voice, that assertiveness, and that sometimes aggression to let them know, hey, don't play with me, right? That's what mamas do. That's what daddies do. Don't play with me. And sometimes, depending, if you see somebody about to walk into a ditch, a big old hole, they can't see it, and you tell them, hey, watch out. You don't see that? You're being aggressive, but you're letting that person know, hey, there's danger ahead. So there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place on how we express our dissatisfaction with another human being, right? I even have to learn that, and I'm learning it. Am I where I used to be? Absolutely not. Am I where I need to be? Absolutely not. So that means I'm progressing. I'm going in that direction. Now, there is sometimes the aggression is needed because sometimes people think they can play and they play a little too much, and you have to let them know, don't come this way with that bullshit. Okay. Then there's times when you can be like, you know what? Let's talk it out. Let's see if we can work through this, right? Let's see if we can work through this. So I'm just going to show you a video. This is from a psychiatrist. This is someone that has been to school, that has gotten their master's, their doctorate degree. They're a clinical psychiatrist, and they can explain to you what passive aggressive really is, because some people still don't know, what it actually is. But it's actually a clinical term. It's a clinical term, and it is something that, hey, Rollo, it is something that people are not aware that they do. I wasn't aware. I was just thinking I was being assertive because I was taught that I was too rude. I was too straight up. Yeah, you can be straight up, but sometimes you got to hold back the tide. What's up, Martin? Sometimes you got to hold back the tide. There's a time and a place to say everything. What I want to say to Rollo, and I can have, and I have a way to communicate with him behind the scenes. There's a way that I'm going to communicate with Rollo, and I'm going to communicate with him with respect, because he hasn't came at me disrespectfully. And I'm going to call Rollo on Instagram and say, hey, Rollo, hey, I need to talk to you. I got a concern. It's something that I have a concern about. Can we talk? Rollo will say, oh, yeah, Selena, let's go ahead. What's going on? And I tell, hey, Marissa, I tell Rollo, hey, what's going on? Oh, yeah. Well, I've been feeling this kind of way and everything. Okay, yeah, I kind of picked it up. So yeah, let's talk about it. Well, why did you feel this way? What happened? And all this stuff. So there's things in communication that people do, but see, we haven't been taught how to communicate as a child because guess what? Our parents didn't know. Most of the time, our grandparents didn't know, and our great grandparents didn't know. They just did, you know. So we try to figure things out as we go. But when we know that a situation, maybe a response is inappropriate, we deal with it differently. See, what I originally want to do is I really want to cuss you out because you try to check me and you don't have no business checking me, especially when you are a grown person, a grown woman, or a grown man, and you can give me a call. Okay. And even if there is a situation to where sometimes it may mean for you to meet people face to face and have a conversation, right? It's not always on the phone, sometimes face to face, and you have to be able to not want to jump out of your skin without expressing, when you're expressing yourself. But like I said, it's a time and a place for everything. And we all have been one or the other. And sometimes we're all three. Some of us are more dominant in another, right? I'm learning to be more assertive rather than to be nice, nasty, passive aggressive, right? I can still tell you how I feel, but it's all in love when really I just cut your throat, right? And those type of messages can leave misunderstandings and they can break up friendships. They can even break up romantic relationships. They can even break up something before it even starts, right? And one thing we need to understand, our mouth is powerful. The Bible says that our tongue, there is life and death in the power of our tongue. So that is very powerful that our mouth can do so much harm to other people. It can affect other people. It can damage things before they even start. I've done it. Hell, you've done it. None of us are exempt from our mouth being poison to other people. We both have spoke negatively. We both have spoken lies. We all have said things that was disrespectful when we could have said it a different way. And one thing I want to do this coming year that I have not ever been focused on as much is to make sure that I watch my mouth. In that song Clout with what was it, Offset, he said, bitch, watch your mouth. And that's what a lot of people need to do. You can't come at people any kind of way and expect to get a different result. You can't do that. There's just some ways that you have to get it within yourself and be like, you know what? The way I have communicated before, whether it's nice, nasty, whether it's mean, I can't do that this coming year. If I want to actually have relationships, whether it's platonic or romantically or business, whatever you got, what you want with people, whatever relationship you want with people, you're going to have to learn how to contain that mouth. That includes me and everybody else in this chat and everybody else that will listen. So I was talking to my brother Brainwaves this morning. All right. Some of you guys have seen him before. Come on my lives. And I'm going to invite him up after I play this video. He has a lot of good information about passive aggressiveness and how we use it so easily. We don't even know we're using it. Hey, Young Riaz. I was just talking about you. And I definitely want Brainwaves to kind of break it down because, Brainwaves is highly intelligent. He can break some things down that I didn't break down. And I want you to hear what it is. But basically, like I said, the way we conduct ourselves with people, it all starts with our mouth. You know, our mouth plays a powerful, it's a powerful part in how we break people, how we break relationships, how we destroy things. I've destroyed things with my mouth, just like you have. So none of us are exempt from it. We just need to realize that we need to get more knowledgeable. I believe people need to get more knowledgeable. You know, people die because of ignorance. When you have a lot of ignorance and you're not aware of things, you're going to miss out a lot on life. You have to learn to be a little bit willing to learn something different, to do things differently. If you're going to stay ignorant to everything, you're going to dwell and stay in your past. So I hope I'm making sense here. I feel like everybody is quiet. I know, because sometimes when I'm talking, and say, for instance, if I'm speaking in an engagement or I'm saying something in a group, right? And everybody gets quiet. That's kind of how I feel right now. And of course, you can't speak to me from a chat besides tippity type. But it is something that I definitely, guys, want you to look at. And if you're okay with destroying people with your mouth, or you just don't give a damn, you're just going to say whatever you want to say and people are just going to put up with it, then be my guest. Do it. Do you, boo. But just know that with everything that you speak upon, who you speak to and speak about, believe me, you're going to get that smoke and fire. Okay? You're going to get whatever you're looking for. What's up, CC? So I definitely want you guys to, my goal this year is to definitely work on communication. My goal is definitely to be assertive, not aggressive, and not passive aggressive. Assertive, I'm letting you know I'm a straight shooter. This is what I see. This is what I believe. If you don't like it, that's on you. Some people say, that's too hard. I would not be true to myself if I could not be straight, right? I've worked so hard on myself not to be a certain thing. So when I give it to you straight, then I'm hard. If I give it to you nice and nasty, then I'm mean, right? If I don't give it to you at all, and I just say, well, I'm just going to let it go. And, then I'm weak. So you know what? I said this year, I'm just going to be myself. And I'm just going to call it what it is. But my goal is not to just hurt feelings and not to be malicious. My goal is to let you know who I am. Whether it's not to F with me, or don't come at me that way, or I don't like that, or please don't do that. I'm letting you know what I am feeling and what I mean. There's no please and thank you. It is what it is. It's going to be, this is how I see it. I am open to your suggestions. I'm not closed-minded to the point to where, hey, Denise, where I'm not open to other people's ways of thinking. I'm not closed-minded to what people feel. That would make me, hey, Mika, hey, go Sickums, that would make me a narcissist, where I'm so self-centered and so selfish. It's all about me and how I feel, and I want to be heard. And we heard that so many times on here from delusional people, right? That would make me a narcissist. So I care about, especially if it's somebody I'm involved with, or it's a friend, or what business, whatever it is. I care about what you have to say, and I'm open to what you have to say, right? But at the same time, please be open to what I have to say and what I see and how I believe as well. See, communication is reciprocal. It's not something that you feel and you don't want, and you forget about whatever anybody else got to say or feel. No, That's not open communication. Open communication is, hey, tell me how you feel, and I tell you how I feel respectfully. Not disrespect, not coming at me disrespect and think I'm going to put up with it because you come at me disrespectfully, you're going to meet that energy. So we have to learn how, as adults, as grown folks, as they want to say, not little grown boys and grown girls, how to communicate openly with each other. If you are dissatisfied with something, say it respectfully. If you do not, if you feel a certain way that this person maybe have done something offensively to you, come to that person respectfully, and hopefully that person will receive it that way. But see, sometimes I notice too, sometimes you can tell people the truth and be assertive, but because people are delusional and they haven't learned how to communicate, they get offended. They get defensive because that's all they know. They defensive because they mad because they can't really communicate like you. They wish they could say they didn't like something or they felt some type of way, but instead of them being able to look at themselves and be like, let me see if I can explain how I feel calmly, they get automatically defensive, right? I used to be like that, and still at times, depending on what moves that, I got to check myself and I got to be like, okay, Selena, you know how to do this. You know how to talk and keep your cool, so do that, right? But some people get defensive because they can't communicate like they want to. And a lot of times defense mechanisms, they're called that for a reason. Why? Because we're trying to defend ourselves from any hurt, right? From any criticism. That's what defense mechanisms do. They defend us. They keep us safe from any person critiquing us or any person that's trying to do something to us. That's what it is. But see, what I learned about communication, especially when people come to me respectfully, everybody's not trying to hurt you. Everybody's not trying to do something malicious to you. Everybody's not trying to make you feel dumb or less than. So don't always get defensive. My friend Denise had told me something, I think way back, and she was telling me, she said, Selena, she said, you know what? You've changed. She said, I see the improvement. How, when I tell you something, you don't get easily offended. I said, well, I'm working on myself and I understand your intent is not to hurt me. Your intent is to help me. So for me to come at you with defense, to me, I'm hurting myself and I'm hurting the relationship that I have with her. Right? If people cannot come to you and tell you what they see respectfully, I'm talking about respectfully. I ain't talking about somebody sending you a rude text, coming at you like you they kid, or calling you rudely or saying something rude online. I'm talking about somebody that's really like have a genuine concern and a genuine like, hey, let's talk. What's up? See, you got to read. I said this yesterday, read the room and read the people. See if people really coming at you with intent before you come with defense. That's all I'm saying. Right. Mika, you said that's why they need to teach these kids anger management and conflict resolution in these schools. Correct. When you go to this staff developments or you go to all these developments when you're working professionally, they will have you sometimes go through conflict resolution classes because we're going to be working around people. So in order to be working around people, there's going to be conflict all the time. Different personalities, different communication styles, and people just got issues. So we have to learn to work with all of it, unfortunately. That's just what it is. And conflict resolution can help in a lot of different situations. It can help. So, unfortunately, it is not being taught at an early age. It really needs to be taught in elementary, I think. But because people are so worried about teaching kids about sex and their gender, if they feel like a boy and they're a girl, then, let's teach them about that rather than how can we have a healthy communication with each other so we can have healthy relationships. How about that? Hey, Russell. I'm just saying. So I'm going to share this with you guys. And yeah, Russell, he's a sweetheart. He just doesn't read the room well. But that's okay. Now, this is a little goofy guy, but he makes it where people pay attention. It's talking about the 10 most passive aggressive phrases. And it's only 3 minutes, so hopefully you guys will stay around. See, he's a little corny, but hey, it gets the message. You get the message.
It's when someone says something with this face when they really mean it with this face.
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's great. It's sort of a way of saying something mean while still having plausible deniability in case someone calls you out.
I feel like you were mad at me earlier.
What? No, I told you I was fine. Those tricky passive-aggressive people. Luckily, there's some phrases that they all use quite often. So let's talk about 10 of them. Just saying, this phrase is supposed to absolve the speaker of any guilt for any hurtful thing they just said.
That shirt does not go with those pants. I'm just saying.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that you were just saying. I thought you were actually, being hurtful. Thank you so much. That's okay now. I'm just curious. This is a phrase passive-aggressive people use when they aren't just curious. Hey, so, where were you last night? I'm just curious. It's called fishing for information. No offense, but this is another variation of just saying. Oh, you said no offense. Sorry, I just misunderstood because what you said was actually really offensive. I don't know if you've noticed, but the implication being that if you didn't notice, you're an idiot.
I don't know if you noticed, but that movie we just watched had some really problematic messages in it.
Yeah, it totally did. Oh, yeah, definitely had some of those. I sure wish someone would. A not so effective way of asking for a favor.
Wow, I sure wish someone would take out the trash.
Yep, I do too.
It's okay. I'll take care of it.
Did you ever take out the trash?
Oh, no, I'll go do that right now.
It's okay. I'll take care of it.
Okay. Don't you love it when? This is for those times when the passive-aggressive person wants you to know that they don't love something.
Don't you love when you message someone and it shows that they've read the message, but they never reply? If you don't want to talk to me, say it to my face. #so rude.
Some people. Not me, obviously, but some people. Hi, neighbor.
Yeah, hey, listen, your life sounds so fun up there. I just love hearing all your late-night parties. They're great. But listen, some people, not me, but some people need to sleep and then go to work in the morning. So I just want to let you know, but keep having fun. Great late-night party.
I have done this. You've heard me say y'all, but sometimes when I say that, I'm talking about general people, because it's a lot of people that do that. So I can't say this person. And I did make it very clear that this year I was going to be calling names out, depending on what the situation is, so people will know what the hell I'm talking about. But that's when you hear y'all a lot. And I go back and clarify and say, I'm talking about people in general, right? No specific person, just in general what people do. But people use y'all and people use some. That's a clear sign that you are heading to passive aggressiveness. Okay? That you're trying to say something, you're trying to relate a message in a negative message, but you don't want to just call out and say the person, how they offended you or how they made you feel, or why you mad because they didn't do this, or you don't like how they think or what they did. Right? We all have done it. Some and y'all.
Okay, bye.
Thanks in advance. Another not so effective way of asking for a favor. Hey, can you do this task for me that I have no business asking you to do, but if you don't do it, I'm gonna be really annoyed with you? Here, thanks in advance. And finally, am I the only one who? Fun fact, you are never the only one who.
Am I the only one who...
No. Stop. You know, another passive-aggressive thing people say is,
So, where are you gonna go to college?
everybody just assumes that everyone's going to college. But you know what? College is expensive. Thankfully, our friends at College Plus want to help you out. They are currently offering to help you earn
Oh,
6 college credits in 2 weeks.
Oh, honey, he's talking about college credits, but we gonna stop right there on that. But that's basically what people do when they use a lot of passive aggression. I'm going to let my boy up. Hey, ECP3. Yes, it is very expensive. I know. Shout out to Brainwaves. Thank you for coming through and showing your girl some love. Brainwaves. We had a discussion this morning. I mean, you were hitting some powerful things. And I had to let the people know what's going on, and talk about this, because see, a lot of our communication style comes from, I'm gonna say it comes from childhood trauma. It comes from a lot of different ways. It even depends on your relationship with your caregiver, how you communicated with your parents or whoever raised you. That's how you kind of communicate with everybody until you learn better. You get out of being ignorant, and then you start learning there's a better way. So we talked a little bit about that. I want you just to talk, Brainwaves, and I'm gonna be quiet until I need to ask you a question. Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you, Selena, once again, sis, for allowing me to speak on your platform. I think this particular subject, this particular topic is something that everyone needs to be aware of, because it's prevalent in virtually every aspect and facet of our society, particularly here on social media, even more particularly on YouTube. Passive aggressiveness is off the charts. It's so commonplace. You mentioned this earlier. I don't think people even realize that they do it. You have content creators that do it. You have the people in the audience section, people that leave comments, they talk in the live chat, they do it. And it is done so much, and so many people are doing it, that no one sees that it's a problem. And as a matter of fact, you'll find that the algorithms actually support a lot of passive aggressive behavior. So they'll support content that pushes that, people that operate that way. You have viewers that want to see that and go that way, whether they realize it or not. You become accustomed to it. We see it, we hear it in our songs. We see it in the films and the shows that we watch. Like everywhere we turn around, that's where you notice. Like in the example that you had with the guy, where he gave like 10 examples. I ran through all 10 of those examples a billion times. I know you have. Everyone here, if there's anyone watching this and they come into the chat or live chat and say, well, I've never said those things, we know they're lying. You're straight up lying, because everyone, our society teaches us to go there. And it's one of the reasons why we have so much conflict, because we are actually sowing, we reap what we sow. Many of you know I have a biblical background as well. So some people will call it karma, but in the Bible, we call it reaping what you sow. So if you put out conflict, you're going to receive conflict, even if it doesn't come from that direct source that you targeted or you may have intended it to. And so there's a lot of things where we're not honest with who we are, honest with how we feel, honest with what we're thinking. We walk in fear. There's so many things that are wrong, and you wonder why things are so chaotic. People say, well, why is this and why is that? Well, look at how we're moving as a whole. We're being passive aggressive every time you turn around. And so in order to get some different results, we have to move differently. That's the definition of insanity. You wonder why it seems like we have insanity at every corner. We're doing the same things. We're reacting the same way. We think the same way. We're not growing. We're not evolving. And you're going to get the same results. So when we look in our relationships and our situations, we say, how come these aren't changing? How come I keep getting met with the same outcome every time I do a video, every time I comment in the live chat, every relationship that I get in the workplace, in school, in my community, at home, with friends, families, lovers, video game? I don't care where you are. Why am I always encountering these situations? It's because we're moving the same way. So with this particular message that Selena is doing, what I want to add to is that, first of all, we're going into a new year in 2 days. We're 2 days away. That's literally right around the corner. And oftentimes people think about doing things differently. People call them resolutions. I don't really so much get into all of that because a lot of times resolutions are short lived. Just depends on the individual. But people start out strong in the first quarter, and then by the time they get to April, as soon as the weather warms up, depending on your climate and where you live, people just say, forget this. They're out and about, and so much for the resolutions. But what I do want to say is that we have to move differently coming up this year. And there's been a lot of shakeups in society, a lot of situations around the world. I have spoken on some of these things. Many of us are seeing these things. Briefly, I'll just kind of touch bases on the Travis Hunter football player situation, where a lot of content creators have been talking about him and his relationship with Liana. And it's just, these are things that are coming up prevalent. Why is this coming up at the end of 2024? Because we need to think about how we're moving. And there's a lot of things that, for instance, that Travis and Liana both have said to each other, as well as other people that they have talked to, depending on whoever filmed them or what have you, that was very passive aggressive. And we often use passive aggressive as a scapegoat for avoiding who we truly are. And it's essentially out of fear, because we are afraid of the response that we're going to get if we're honest with people. So on social media is a very ripe environment for people to lie. You have a lot of, whether they're in the live chat, whether they're in the comment section, whether they're a content creator themselves or an influencer, they lie about who they are. I'm very familiar with the entertainment industry. I grew up at 6 months years old. I was in a guitar band with my father, and I've done tap dance, ballet, theater, music. Like, I've been acting. I've been there and done it my entire life. So I'm very well versed. I'm not just someone who's unaware of these things, on the different personalities and who the public persona might be with individuals or certain things, and the private persona. And oftentimes we have a conflict there. We come on these social media platforms in the public portraying one persona, but privately we're another person. We feel a different way. We see things a different way. We have different challenges, different views, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people are just not honest. They're not straightforward. They're not giving you the truth. And people also don't like to hear the truth. So if you are in that particular boat, or those boxes get checked with you, then you might struggle with this particular message. You may struggle because you will not necessarily realize or see or even be willing to take a look at how you may be partaking in passive aggressiveness. Now, we've seen some examples of passive aggressiveness, but I want to give you all some more. And then I'm going to touch on a few other things. One of the things you see, I want to talk about Kendrick Lamar. He talked about sneak dissing. That whole Kendrick and Drake beef, many of us are aware of it. I like to refer to situations that anyone can look at in the public. You can see this, see that, et cetera, without having me in the picture. And so sneak dissing is a form of how people use passive aggressiveness. They may feel a certain way about someone. They may feel a certain way about a situation. And instead of being in their truth with how they actually feel and who they really are as it comes or relates to that situation, they respond in passive aggressiveness. So it allows them to get the anger, get the emotion, get the expression out, but without having to take accountability. Now, I
Right.
just touched on a big word: accountability, accountability, accountability. Did I say accountability? Hello, are you
Right.
listening?
Right.
Accountability. Passive aggressiveness allows a person to not take accountability. And this is one of the things that is wrong with everything. We have to take accountability in situations in life. And if we don't take accountability, we can't expect to have anything meaningful. It's just like with sports. We watch sports games all day, every day. People say, oh, the player should have did this. The coach should have did that. The ref shouldn't have made this call. They should have said this, did that. We say all of these things with everyone else taking accountability. But let's look at the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson would say. Are we taking accountability? And so that comes back into where a lot of people use passive aggressiveness. Here's some examples. One of the things that a lot of people like to do, I'll speak on the content creator side because I'm a content creator. Selena's a content creator. We have some other content creators in the live chat. And so I'm going to speak from that perspective because it'll be easier for the audience to see. But I'm going to get you all in the audience as well. Sometimes we create content and the content is actually directed to one particular person or one group of individuals or one particular cause. We'll just call it a noun. It's directed towards a noun, a person, place, thing, or idea. But instead of naming that person or those people, place, places, thing, things, or idea, ideas, what do? We'll generalize it and we will try to tailor it to our audience. It's if it's a general statement. Now, Selena mentioned this
I
earlier,
have done that. Hey, thank you, Double Speaks. I've done that.
and I've done that too.
Uh-huh.
We all have, we as creators, we all have done that. And if someone acts like they don't or have never done that, they're lying. And
Right.
as a matter of fact, I will make content and call them out about it because I have no problems calling people out. I call myself out. So if I'm gonna call
Right.
myself out, I'll definitely call you out. That's what I'm known
Mhm.
for. So
Yes.
if I do it, I'm telling y'all, I do it. So if I am guilty of that, I know other people are. And what we want you all to understand and see is that we can't move like that anymore going forward. We have to lead by example and do better. We will say things, do things, and again, it's directed towards a certain area, but we avoid mentioning that area. Why? Because we're afraid. Most of the time, it's fear of what someone will say. We're afraid of the backlash. We're afraid of what people are going to think about us, et cetera, et cetera. So it gives us an scapegoat, a loophole of saying and doing things without having to take ownership, accountability. One of the things that people do in the live chat is they will say things in the live chat as a viewer about us or perhaps others in the live chat. Instead of directly saying what's on their mind, they may make a generalized blanket statement. This happens often in the workplace. One employee will be the result of an entire new set of policies. So instead of addressing that one employee, what does management do? What do companies do? They'll say everyone. So that's a politically correct way of being passive aggressive. No one
Okay.
else in that scenario, no one else is guilty of doing those things or not doing those things. But because of that one individual and the company being afraid of some legal backlash or what have you, they'll just make a blanket statement. Or maybe that particular manager or whoever's supposed to share the policy updates or the rules or whatever changes they're going to implement, they're afraid of conflict with that individual. Again, it's fear-based. So what they do is they'll say it to everyone, but then it actually causes more conflict when we do that. And this is what I want you all to understand and want you to see. It's a pattern. This is why so much conflict on social media right now. Everyone's being passive aggressive. They're hinting at this, they're hinting at that. They're teaming up this person, teaming up with that person. We don't rarely sit down face to face and chop it up. How many times do y'all actually see people that got beef sit down face to face and chop it up, or come on some type of platform or panel where they can at least chop it up and see what's what? You don't really see it. You see the beef. You see people encouraging the drama and the beef because that sells. They used to say sex sells. Now it's the
Mhm.
conflict, it's the beef, it's the drama that sells. So we've got to be aware of what this is. It's literally a medical term. We do this in our love relationships. That's why we have conflict, and people say, well, what do you mean? I didn't say that. Just like we see the examples that we're given in the video. We see
Mhm. Are you still there? Okay, I think you. Hey, why? I think you're on mute, or there's a disconnect.
hold on.
But- yeah, go. You are. I
All
didn't
right, can
hear.
you still hear me, Selena?
I can hear you now.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear
Hold
you.
on, can you still hear me, Selena?
I can hear you, but you can't hear me. Yeah, he'll have to drop back down. But basically, to be honest with you, I did this live because I had somebody to be a passive aggressive to me just recently. And what I don't like about people that, like I always tell you, if I have communication with you outside of YouTube, there's no reason for communication to be misunderstood. But unfortunately, I guess sometimes I don't know if others just don't listen to you, but I have experienced a lot of passive aggressiveness from a lot of times. Even like I said, I have done it. And I think that it's just a point now where people just need to, we all need to recognize what we're doing if we care. Now, if you like somebody that don't give a damn and you want to beef like Lonnie, hey, by all means, do you, boo. Everybody, do you. But if you actually serious about, I'm talking about not outside of YouTube, but just having relationships in general, friendships, whatever, platonic, romantically, again, business, then it's different. If you want to come on YouTube and actually treat YouTube as a business and not just some hobby that where you can be silly or crazy, whatever you want to be, then there's a different way. There's different ways on how you handle yourself, because we're still going to be dealing with people at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, so, but I'm talking about, this is not just YouTube. I'm talking about, there's different areas in our life that we are passive aggressive. Some of us may feel like we're not, some of us may not be. But if you do deal with some of these struggles of communicating, this is the live that I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about right now. So it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, hey, I got it. You don't have to listen to it. But if it's something that you're curious about, if it's something that you're open to, hey, listen, always, I know people gonna critique, but just be open to the information if you're here. Okay, go ahead. Brainwaves.
Yeah, I want to I know I got cut off just for a second, but I want to again remind people, like Selena said, this isn't just social media. Because I know when people come on social media, they act one way, but then they act another way in real life. As they say on Instagram or IG, fronting for the gram, people come on social media and they act one way, but they totally different in real life. So what we're
Right.
talking about, this applies to your real life. There's so much dialogue when it comes to so much conflict in our society that passive aggressive, it's literally ridiculous. It's to the, again, it allows people to say things and get away with it if you try to bring it up to them that, hey, did you say this? Or if you ask a question, were you referring to that? And they will play, What are you talking about? I would never say anything like that. I don't speak that way. How dare you? Something must be wrong with you because you're bringing this up to me and I don't ever go this way. That's
Mm.
generally people's response to you calling them out about being passive aggressive. And as a matter of fact, then it allows them to go on full blown aggressive towards you and have a so-called of a justification, because why is this person calling me out here? This is one of the reasons, and I'm using social media so that everyone can understand this. This is one of the reasons, like for instance, why people don't like me, because I expose the truth on life. That's what I'm known for doing, exposing people, exposing situations, exposing things. People don't like you when you're like that. You almost get categorized as a snitch, even though I ain't no snitch. But you get categorized as if you want, because he's like, oh, he gonna be telling the business, but you got your business out on a public platform. So you have actually told your own business. We're just commenting and responding to the businesses out there in a public platform. Newsflash, everyone. If you don't want your business out there, whether you're on social media or not, don't put your business out there. Now, we are aware that there are people that privately put private business out there. That's a whole nother different conversation, and those people need to be dealt with. That's a violation on so many levels when you speak to someone privately and you believe that it's private, and then all of a sudden something like that goes public. That's a different scenario. I was just referring to people who have their business out there, or they're talking with friends, family members in the communities they're involved with, and they got their business publicly known, but then they want to be shocked if someone responds or asks a question or comment on it. We can't be surprised by that. But again, the passive aggressiveness is a disconnect of honesty, a disconnect of accountability. And if we are more honest with ourselves, let alone each other, like for instance, a lot of people are passive aggressive with themselves. That's right. Let me repeat that. A lot of people are passive aggressive with themselves. They're in such a disconnect of who they are and how they feel and what they want about situations that they actually go through life in a passive aggressive manner. And
Can
again,
you can
that's
you give us some examples? And also, I want to ask you to give me some examples for people. Like it could be a friendship, or it could be romantically, where you're just starting to get to know people, and people they get upset with you, and it's passive aggressive. Give examples on that as well.
absolutely. Well, so one of the things, I guess I'll start first with the being passive aggressive with yourself. What
Mhm.
happens is, I'm going to try to explain this in the most simple manner, the easiest manner to assimilate for someone to eat, so to speak, food for thought. What people do a lot of times is they put themselves in situations that cause conflict. That is the phrase that I want to say. Cause conflict. Now, what do I mean by that? Instead of being honest with themselves and be involved with people or don't be involved with people, situations, again, the nouns, they will engage in things that they really do not agree with or align with. For instance, someone could be here in what I see a lot of viewers do on social media is they will subscribe, they will repeatedly listen to a content creator or a set of content creators that they don't agree with what they have to say, but they're there for other reasons. And by doing that, that creates conflict within them because they really don't want to be there. They really don't like the person. They don't care for the person, but they're there. They keep putting themselves in that situation. And so what happens is, on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, and I don't want to get too deep, but again, you reap what you sow. So if you're putting yourself in those type of situations, you're going to attract those type of situations in your life. So you may not have any issues on social media because you're listening to people like that. But when you go to the store, that's where it may manifest. When you go get gas or you go charge up or whatever for my EV owners out there, or you go grocery shop, I don't care. You're going to the club, doesn't matter where you're going. You just stepping outside on your front porch or what have you. Somebody
Mhm.
might come by, drive by, and all of a sudden you're having conflict being inserted into your situation. Why? Because you insert yourself into a situation that you didn't need to be in. So you're creating conflict in your life because you're not being honest with who you are and how you feel and moving accordingly. And see, a lot of us are walking lies and contradictions. What you see is not what you get. And so
Right.
people, again, put on a persona, but they're a totally different person. And they are afraid. It goes back to that fear. They are afraid of letting family members, friends, people in the community, coworkers know who they are. So, like, for instance, you be on a job, right? And
Right.
people will ask you, let's say it's your beliefs. Maybe you don't believe in something, or maybe let's just do it to food. Maybe you don't like to eat, or I don't know, you have an issue. You have an allergic reaction to a certain type of food. It doesn't really matter the food.
Right.
And so normally you would not eat that food, but what you are on your job is you become a different person. You're afraid of telling people, hey, I don't like to eat that. They be like, you don't like to eat pizza? You don't want to eat French fries? What's the matter? It's just a little pork, it's just a little beef, or it's just
Mhm.
some candy. What, you don't want to eat candy? You know,
Mhm.
and they are afraid of the reaction that people will have towards them.
So they'll
They're
play into it.
Exactly. And
Okay.
so it causes you to actually feel passive aggressive on the back end with those people, because what happens is you're upset with people. Really, it's you not letting them know your truth. Because generally, when
Exactly.
you let people know your truth, they know what time it is. You gave the example, Selena. Like if somebody want to come on social media and they just want to wild out, and that's just the type of person they are, they don't care about anything we're saying. At
Mhm.
least they made it clear, and everybody knows that's what type of person it is.
Right.
So it alleviates a great deal of this passive aggressive behavior because you know how they are and you know what you're signing up for. It actually allows people, because that person is being honest with who they are, letting people know, then it creates an atmosphere of honesty. So people are engaging on an honest manner. But what happens is people lie all the time, and they say one thing and they act one way, or they come on platforms, they meet with people and they talk one thing, but they actually feeling something else.
Right.
So this that creates that passive aggressiveness within yourself, because you're going to get tired of the lie. You're in war with yourself. You really you don't want to eat candy, but you told all your coworkers you want to eat candy. So now here you are on a job. If you eat the candy, you're mad about it because you're breaking your own convictions, your own beliefs, whatever you see about candy, trying to appease people that honestly, if you just told them what it is, they'll probably support you. But out of fear, you think that they won't support you. So then you go along eating the candy. This is what we do. We go along with eating the candy on the job and then say, like, you know what? It's been 5 months. It's been a year. I'm sick and tired. I can't do this anymore. So then after a year's time, you want to stand up and be honest with yourself. You want to stand up and stand in your truth and your convictions. When you
Mhm.
share it with your coworkers, then you're still going to have to push through the conflict because you've lied to them, and then they're trying to figure out, wait a minute, I thought you was cool with Candy all these times, and all of a sudden you telling us it was this and this and that, and it was like that back then, and we didn't even know. So then they have conflict with their perception with you. And so that's what we see a lot of times when we see beef in the community, beef in relationships, beef everywhere we go. People will have this misconception about who you really are and how you actually move and how you actually think because they thought one thing. Or maybe it wasn't that you weren't honest. Maybe you were honest in the beginning that hey, you wanted to eat candy. You was fine with it. But then maybe you grew and you changed and you became an individual who doesn't like candy anymore. And so people have to also learn about that aspect of you. Wait a minute. They're in conflict. Like, you're good. I used to eat candy. I don't care about eating candy anymore. I'm good. But then other people are not good. So then they have those conflicts. And then what they end up doing is, as they're trying to work through it, they go into passive aggressiveness. So
What if, let me ask you this question. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to ask you this question. Um, with our mouth, how we handle things with being passive aggressive or aggressive, whichever one, how do we even ruin any type of relationship we before we start? Like, what are some of the things that passive aggressiveness can cause a conflict, especially even before anything starts, whether it's a friendship, whether it's platonic, business? How can that interfere with us even starting to get to know people?
wow. Well, the passive aggressive speech creates confusion. If I had to pick one word to choose, it's going to be confusion.
Mm.
So what is once clear? For instance, before we open our mouths, we have somewhat of a clear understanding. Like if you see someone, okay, I see this person, they look like this, they move like this, they dress like this is how they work, this is how they dance, this is how they act, et cetera, et cetera. You have clarity on that front at the particular point in time that you're at, and you have an understanding that I don't know this person. I haven't said a word to this person, but from what I know, I have clarity of who this person is before I actually get to know them any further, before they open their mouths or what have you. But what happens is when someone goes passive aggressive in the beginning, it creates confusion because then it changes who you thought that person may have been, and then it also creates confusion on the other end with yourself or yourselves because you're like, what did I say? What did I do to be the recipient of this passive aggressiveness? We have not met. Everything appeared to me on my end of looking at the other individual was fine. I saw this person from a distance, et cetera, et cetera. I never did anything. I don't interact with this person, what have you. And then the first thing that comes out of their mouth is passive aggressiveness. So then you're like, okay, what did I say or do? Like, did I miss something here? And then it goes on and on and on, especially if you don't get to actually uh, speak these things and be truth. And a lot of times, what it does is it keeps us from being able to speak to people. It just
Mhm.
automatically turns those relationships off, or it
Right.
creates boundaries with the depth of what the relationship could go into. And you don't,
Mhm.
if you don't have those conversations, these honest conversations, then it's gonna stay stuck. It'll be a sitting duck in the water. It won't go anywhere. And this is
Well,
why we get stuck.
well, I always try to tell everybody, especially in real life and even on YouTube, you have issue with me, right? Come and talk to me. Don't talk at me. Come and talk to me. When I see that this is passive aggressiveness, it creates a wall. I have a wall up after that. It is hard for a person to get through that wall after that because I've created it, right? And that is
Yes.
a part of my personality. I don't know if that is healthy all the time, but I think a lot of the times um, my I think my detector of bullshit um, and BS, it really when it starts to start ringing for me, my patience level is not very long. Okay. So you've basically answered the question for me, that it does create a barrier, right? When
Yes.
people do those type of things, and it makes you very, like, I would say sometimes uptight with people. But I definitely, I know when I have those situations, I hate those situations because I've already told you how to come at me. I've already told you. So that lets me know when people are not listening to what I say
Mm,
and they continue to do what they want to do with it, but you're talking at me and not to me. That's where I have a problem.
that's deep.
Does, is that now does that make you, and we also, I'm talking about avoidance, different avoidance styles too. We have the anxious avoidant, we have the dismissive avoidant, and we have someone, I think those are the two. Is it another one? Or the submissive, is it a submissive avoidant? But I know sometimes I have been a person where I can be a dismissive avoidant, just depending on what it is. I'm kind of getting out of that, but I can definitely disappear on you because you've already offended me. So what do? I dismiss you. Okay. Not saying all of that is healthy all the time. You have to know your boundaries, and you definitely have to know the people you're dealing with. If you've gotten to know somebody and I would say pros are better than your cons, you can work on things. Every relationship, every business deal, every partnership, you shouldn't dismiss, because there's always going to be conflict as long as you're living around the people, dealing with people. It's going to be conflict. So you have to know when it's time to be like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good.
You know, you said something, Selena. I want to say this. There are times when all of us may go into a particular version of avoidance, depending on what the scenario is and who it is. Again, it's the who, what, when, where, whys, and how specifically. But we
Mhm.
all have our moments where we go into those modes. So it's not necessarily say just like a you thing. I mean, I've done it. I will do it depending on what it is. For instance, like I'll use an athlete as an example. If you have an athlete, say like a football player, they're headed to the playoffs or what have you, or they're about to achieve a record milestone in their career, then they're focused on that, and they have very little time or tolerance, if any time or tolerance, for any BS. So they may go straight as soon as they get wind of that passive aggressiveness, boom, they're going straight into that avoidance. However it is, because like I don't have time for this right now. I'm not thinking about this. Sometimes we have more time. Let's say that same athlete already achieved said goal or goals. Then they may have more time and more lenience for it. So it just depends on what season we're at, what we have going on. But we all know our lives are increasingly busy. And when someone puts it out there that they are, like you did, for example, that, hey, if you got a problem with me, let me know behind the scenes, preferably, um, just chop it up with me or what have you. If that's known and it's out there, and then someone engages you still against that, then the error is actually in their court, because they didn't try to engage with you behind the scenes with the conflict. And this is what you see. A lot of people, especially on social media, is so dangerous with us on social media. Y'all do not understand how the tightrope that we have to walk as a content creator. Even with the audience, you got people in the live chat. I've offended so many people in the live chat. It's like, oh my gosh, Brainwaves, you said this. Or people trying to curse you out and do that just because you're conducting your show a certain way, or you're not responding to the chat. See, and so for instance, on that note, instead of people say, hey, Brainwaves, could you engage more with the chat, or could you talk this way? No, they respond in a passive aggressive manner. Oh, I can't stand him because he didn't do this. And so when you respond that way, generally speaking, you don't get good results. And this is
Right.
why some people are wondering why, well, like for instance, in my case, well, how come Brainwaves is not responding favorably to me? Well, did you look at how you responded to me in the beginning? Because I never responded to you like that. I was just conducting my show that way, and you can't satisfy everyone. So everyone's not going to be in agreement with how you conduct your show. Even if you try to satisfy everyone, it's still gonna be smart. Well, you would try to satisfy everybody, and I don't like the fact that you ran your show like that. Like, you can't keep everybody happy. So someone's gonna be upset. And so you have, like, we have to be mature about that. So, like, for instance, in Selena's situation that she just mentioned, she tells people all the time, hey, you got a problem with me, let me know behind the scenes. We go from there, et cetera, et cetera. But people don't take that avenue. They don't take that up. I don't know if it's they're not man enough, woman enough, mature enough, a fear, or whatever it is, but they don't follow through. Or if they do speak behind the scenes, this is what I've noticed, and I'm sure you have as well, Selena, because we talk about this. What
Right.
I notice is that people may have an issue publicly, right? And then they do talk to you behind the scenes. But when they talk to you behind the scenes, they on another tip. Then they want to act
Right.
like it's kumbaya. They want to act like everything is good, it's peachy, it's cool, it's 100, all that
Mhm.
stuff. And but then when they go back on in public, whether they on somebody else's platform, or you next thing you see a video or whatever content or what have you, all of a sudden it's like some passive aggressive beef. You know, they
Mhm.
sneak this and they saying this and saying that instead of being a man or being a woman about it. And this is what we got to do in 2025. We got to be men and women. You got a lot of simps out here when it comes to the guys. I don't care if they got 500,000 subscribers, a bill. That means nothing to me. I don't care if you make $1 zillion a day. I don't care about that. I've been around all types of people, homeless people, and people that running and owning everything out here. That means nothing to me. What matters is how you conduct yourself. Like Martin Luther King said, the quality of your character, the content of your
Mhm.
character, not the color of your skin. So a lot of people are on social media, they've got books, they out there, they're clueless. Like, for instance, a lot of wealthy guys are clueless when it comes to dealing with women and relationships. They got money, they throw money to women, but they got no game, as they would say. They don't know how to interact and speak to women. And same thing, you got women, as well, that are very well off and they don't know how to deal with men. Just because you got stuff, just because you got 500,000 subscribers or 100 or 50, I don't care what the number is, does not mean that you know how to actually deal with people. And we're listening to people that don't have an actual resume. It's just like on the job. I'm going to fall back real quick, Selena. It's just like on the job. When we go to apply for a job, right? If for those of you that want to take a position, and I'll just keep it on that to keep it simple instead of business partnerships and all that. So you go to apply for a job. Well, what happens? The company, the employer is looking at your resume. They want to see that either you have the schooling and or the experience and the qualifications to handle the position that you're going for. And they're going to
Mhm.
ask you that in the interview. If you get to that part, they're going to ask you scenarios, et cetera, et cetera. They want to be sure, and then they're going to get you to a second interview, a third, depending on the position, what have you, just to run it back by other people. And I know I used to hire and fire all the time, so I know how this
Right.
works. They're gonna run it back. It's like, okay, is this just me? Am I tripping, or is this person 100 to you, or this person sucks, et cetera, et cetera? Well, the same thing goes with how we should deal with passive aggressiveness and how we need to conduct ourselves. A lot of people are listening to people that are not qualified. They're not
Right.
qualified in those areas, but people are listening to them, and then they wonder why stuff is not working out.
Yeah, because we talked about relationships yesterday. I'm not gonna get too far into that, but even in relationships, hey Sassy, even relationships, people take that passive aggressiveness in there, and it's just like I think it just messes up a lot of stuff when people just need to just say what it is, what they feeling, what offended them, what they didn't like, and go from there. So how is it, because that's what I think. I think a lot of passive aggressiveness and aggression goes into when you dealing with the opposite sex or the same sex for that matter. But we talked a little bit. I want you to. How long have I been knowing you, Brainwaves? I've been acquainted with you for what? How long? About 5 or 6 months.
It's been like at least 6 months, yeah.
About 6 months. Okay. So they always say in dating, and which we're not dating, but
Right.
The representative you see in the first 6 months, right?
Right.
And then the real person the other 6. So that's like what, a year. Okay.
Okay.
So now there is some people, that they don't have a representative. They show you pretty much what they about, maybe within the month that you've gotten to know them. For the most part, you don't know everything about them. You just kind of know the basics. From you knowing me for 6 months, your perception and how I've dealt with you, do you feel like you are dealing with a representative, or do you feel like you're dealing with a real person?
Oh, that's easy. Real person. Hi.
And it sounds comical, but we, in this day and time, people wear masks. People have so many different personalities. You don't know who is who at the time, because again, when you get to know people, you don't know they're good and they're bad all the time. You have to kind of find things out.
Right.
I want your perspective, because I am, I question myself, because I want to make sure that I'm really evaluating myself, not question as far as like, I don't know who I am, but really be observant of me, evaluating who I am. As you have gotten to know me for 6 months, I want you to give me an evaluation. Now, you say that you see a real person, you don't see a representative. So that's
Correct.
good.
Yes.
But how can you determine what a representative, if I'm giving you a representative or if I'm giving you a real person? How can you determine that?
Oh, that's a big one. I will say this. So it depends on a person's experience and who their mentors are, what examples they have around them, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes with me, I just have a natural gift with that. I've dealt with people. I'm a life coach. I've been around so many experiences, et cetera, personally, and or have witnessed it, as well as been in conversations and situations that I can know these things like the back of my hand. But generally speaking, a lot of people aren't awarded that particular ability or those experiences or have those mentors around. So that's kind of one of the things I was mentioning earlier. That's why it's vital to listen to the right people. We've been listening to the wrong people. We listen to somebody that's overweight in terms of how to lose weight, who's never lost weight. Or we listen to somebody that's broke, busted, and disgusted, wanting to know how to be wealthy and successful, et cetera, et cetera. We've been listening to the wrong people. We've been following wrong examples.
Yeah, and I
So
understand that. But I'm going back to the question, but how do you know that I'm not a representative or that I am a real person? That's what I'm asking you about me.
got you.
I'm making it
So
direct.
got you. So
Okay.
with you in particular, everything that you have said has matched up. There has been some situations of conflict. There has been some confusing moments that we have experienced, and you've stayed true and consistent throughout all of that. There hasn't been anything that would raise any doubts to who you actually say you are and who you're showing, and what I'm also experiencing on my end. And then in the midst of all of that, you even publicly, let alone privately, have talked about, hey, I'm aware of this. These are areas that I'm trying to grow in. Like one big example you had meant with dealing with an internet beef with
Right.
other social media influencers. And so you've made content about that that has shown how you're conducting yourself as it relates to that, as well as private conversations that we've had. And I have not seen, I'll put it like this: if you are going to change up on me at some point in time, what you've been presenting is not likely that you would change much, if you would change at all, in a negative sense, at least. I'm only talking
Mhm.
about in a negative sense,
Mhm.
because in order to know, like this is the key things that I'm focusing on that I want the people to understand. In order to find out who someone is, you got to go through some things with them, or you
Mhm.
gotta have some stressful moments. You have to see how they handle conflict. If, like, for instance, if you're going out on a date with somebody, you need to see if there's any conflict. How do they handle that conflict? Maybe somebody screwed up the order, if you ordering something, or somebody's being passive aggressive with you while you're out on a date or what have you. How do both parties handle it? It's not just the man. How does the woman and the man handle those situations? People need to pay attention to that. How do they handle conflict on social media? You got to look at that too. If they're a social media influencer, how are they dealing with that? How do they deal with their viewers? If you're able to see how they deal with stuff at work or at home, or if you're able to have conversations with people, find that out. Or maybe you know their friends, or somebody that's associated with them, and you're able to understand these things. And I'm not saying like go all crazy and go, snooping and all of that, but these are natural situations that come up. You learn a lot about a person in conflict. This is one of the
Mm.
reasons why God keeps us in fire, keeps us under pressure like the clay. We always in fire. We always going through trial and tribulation like the scripture says, because that shows a person's real character, not this fake character. It's easy when everything is good. Put a little
Mhm.
pressure on it. Let's see how you are. So I've seen you, Selena, under pressure. You've seen me under pressure as well while we're on the subject. We've had moments where we both were, stressed and pressed, and all of those things. And you can see that, or at least in your case, I see that your character is still the same. So I highly doubt that it would be a change up, but this is something that a lot of people don't show. You don't see that and in a public sense, or even in a private sense, of how are they under pressure? Like if they don't like something, if they get sad, if they get upset. However, as it relates to this message, we do see that sometimes they show that through passive aggressiveness.
Right.
We start to see who they really are through passive aggressive, or how they really feel about a situation, et cetera, et cetera. So this is why, like, paying attention to passive aggressiveness is critical, is vital, and we have to watch what we say. It's so many people that say and do things and don't even realize that they're being passive aggressive, because they just do it all the time, or the examples that they have around them. My mama do it, my daddy do it, my cousin, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my husband, my wife, my kids, my teacher, my pastor even do it. So
Mhm.
because they see that, they think nothing's wrong with it because their community does it. So sometimes we have to get experiences outside of our community just to check in, just to have a barometer to understand, okay, is this, that? Speaking of which, that's another thing with you, Selena. I've gotten to see you within several different communities, how you interact and how you um, coexist of sorts with different communities. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot more. Obviously, it's only been 6 months, but I've seen you in different communities. So again, if you acting like this with this community, and you acting like this with that community, you act like this with me, and it seems like you acting like this with other people. There's some people that I know, that that you've communicated with, short or long or what have you, and it's the same thing that I'm perceiving. Then most likely that's who you are.
Right. So when I shift, if my personality shift when I'm with this group that you've seen, different groups, then it shifts over here, then that shows a lot of inconsistency. Though, so more than likely, I would be fake.
Correct. If you shift with people, you're straight up fake because you're trying to fit in. Let me make this clear. Some people just naturally are going to be social butterflies. They're people persons, and they may naturally just be involved in many communities. I'm one of those people. I'm involved in so many communities. It's crazy. But generally speaking, you'll still find a consistency in those communities. That's the key word, consistency. I'm not anyone different in these other communities than I am here on social media. What you see is what you get, what you hear is what you get. It ain't no, is there any dirt on brainwaves? Is there any secrets on brainwaves? What you see is what you get. I ain't, that's why I be like, y'all can fact check me, background check me. I don't care. It's nothing that I have to hide. But a lot of people aren't there with their true authentic selves. They're not comfortable with who they are. And this is why in 2025 we got to focus on who we are, how we really moving, et cetera, not be afraid of doing it. You can do this stuff privately. Like, you don't have to come out publicly and do it, but just do a reality check behind the scenes, either with trusted people, just God himself or what have you. You just spend that time and just look so that you can be authentic, so that when we move forward in 2025, you got that authentic job or career, you getting with that authentic man or woman, you associating in an authentic community, your content is authentic to who you are. Like, how many times do we say we don't like fake people? You gotta have street cred when it comes to, like, oh, I want the rappers to have street cred, they gotta be from the hood and the ghetto, and they gotta have a rap sheet.
Yeah. So you brainwaves, I have to do you like this because you are very, you explain a lot, but I have to keep you direct sometimes, because you you expound on so many things. But one thing I will focus on, when you said that you saw that I was consistent. I think some people sometimes, maybe they get you misconstrued or misunderstood. We were talking about how I'm not the type of person. I think, especially when I came on here, I came on really like friendly and a flirt and wanted to have a lot of fun and da 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 da. But I think and I know because I know me. I hate when people, and I'm just not gonna say people, but well, yeah, because people do that. Some people say, I shouldn't say some people, should I? Because I don't want to be
Passive
passive
aggressive.
aggressive. But I will say I've had people to take me for play, right?
Yes,
Is passive aggressive the same thing as gaslighting?
I believe so. Like, they're so interconnected. They're different things, but it's like white on rice. Like, generally, yes, you can have brown, white, right? Like, I get the other technical colors of rice, but generally the first thought of rice is white. That's where the
Mhm.
saying comes. So it's like it goes hand in hand. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, you can have peanut butter by itself, jelly by itself, but generally they go together. All right, putting ketchup on French fries or what have you. So it's,
Mhm.
yes, gas. It's just another form of passive aggressiveness.
Okay. And when I talk to you about some things and you tell me, you say, 'cause I'm like, am I being unrealistic? Am I being full of BS? And what is your response when I ask you about certain things? Because you do tell me the truth, whether I like it or not. What are some of the things that you tell me?
Well, one of the things that I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to say this to me and to everyone listening. One of the things about you is that you fight to uphold who you authentically are,
Okay.
and who you believe that you are. That's all that we can do, because we do grow. There are times we do change, et cetera, as life goes on. But where you are right now, and where you've been, you stay true to who you are. You don't compromise in that area. And that's something that a lot of people end up doing. And that's where the harm comes in. That's where the hurt and the pain and the frustration and the passive aggressiveness and the gaslighting, because they're putting on one persona publicly, but then there's someone else. Hey, how you doing? Like we do it in our language all the time. You ask a person, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? our natural response is, hey, I'm good. Yeah, everything's good. You know, and then we turn it back onto another person. What about you? And that's if we even take it that far. But generally, we're upset, we're hurting. We don't feel comfortable enough actually saying what's going on, being honest, saying, hey, you know what? I'm not having a good day today. You know, we go
Right.
through, we lie like, oh, yeah, I'm having a great day. No, I'm not having a good day today. There's nothing wrong with not having a good day. The only problem is if you stay stuck in that. That's
Right.
where it's wrong. We're entitled to have these opinions, feelings, and emotions. And I do want to say that. So there may be some times that you might get a more vocal Selena. You may get a happier Selena. You may get a flirty Selena. You may get a frustrated Selena, what have you. Same thing with me or
Mhm.
anybody, because we're
Right.
human. That's what makes us human beings. We're entitled to our emotions. We just can't stay stuck in the negative aspects of things. There
Right.
should be a reason on why what's going on. And people like you, Selena, you generally, again, this is another thing you've shared with your audience. This is how I feel about this right now. This is where I'm at with this right now. I'm done with this. I'm moving on from this. You've shared this so many times publicly, let alone privately, that anyone dealing with you, they got to know what it is. But what I believe is just that people aren't honest with themselves, and so they deal with you, or maybe they just don't know how to. See, this is what these are some of the things I do behind the scenes to help people out with my life coaching. They may not understand this, and they don't know where to turn. This is some of the things that I do. So, but anyway, maybe they need to learn that. Maybe they haven't figured that out. Maybe they don't have any examples, so they don't know exactly how to go about it when interacting with you. And maybe the only example is passive aggressiveness. So we gotta take a second and say, well, wait a minute. I responded to Selena for. I'm just using Selena is this in this example.
Mhm.
Um, as I've been saying for the audience, but you know that, Selena. So
Mhm.
maybe I responded to Selena in this manner, which I thought was right, but I'm not getting the right outcome as it relates to the response that I would like to see from Selena. I either go about it this way, I keep going about it that way, and I keep getting the responses that I don't want from Selena. So if that's the case, then what I would have to do is stop and think, okay, if I keep going about it this way and I'm getting these type of responses, have I tried anything differently? I mean, it might be different if I try some different types of ways of going about things, responses, et cetera, et cetera. And then Selena's still giving me the same result. Maybe it is something on Selena's end, or what have you. But when people generally don't utilize the options that they have of trying to do something differently, you can't say it's that person or it's that situation that now. You got to try some different things and see if you get a different result. And oftentimes you will.
Mhm. Mhm.
We got to be
Yeah.
honest.
I appreciate that because I think that people don't believe me when I tell you this is how you need to come at me if you want a good response. Because I know me. So when people don't do that and they do this, that all that other stuff, the passive aggressive, the subliminals, or the nice nastiness, then you're going to get exactly what you don't want from me. A lot of times I teach people without even saying a word. They'll catch on eventually that, yeah, you know, it's a done deal. So when people tell you how to treat them and they're upfront with you, I'm not talking about a person that, passive or passive aggressive. They don't really tell you how they feel. They just keep everything inside. But when you have a person that is straight up with you, a person that tells you what they rather for you to do if a conflict or something was to occur, because it will. That just comes with getting to know people, and
Yes.
then you do something else. Don't get mad when you get a response that you don't like. That's all I'm saying.
That's with anything too, Selena. Not, not just you alone.
That's in
Again,
general. Yeah.
we could be at a store trying to buy something, do
Right.
something, we could be eating. Anywhere you go, you could just be in the community. We cannot be upset when certain places, and again, we're talking about people, the nouns that this stuff up front. Like you can look at a
Right.
person. A lot of times, certain people, they'll give you a certain vibe, they give you a certain look, situational awareness, but maybe they just tell you it's like, not today, not today. I ain't the one. I ain't the one. So if you
Hmm.
try that person and you respond in a certain way, don't be surprised if you get a certain response back, because
Hmm.
they told you up front. So it's not the likelihood of you getting a favorable response, something you expect, is not real. And I want to say this when it comes to us on social media, because a lot of y'all just looking at us, oh, we're influencers. That is the nature of the relationship that you know us by. You're an influencer, you're a content creator, what have you. We understand this, that we're influencers. What we're letting you know is that we're honest and we're transparent and we're telling you as it is, whether you like it or not. We're telling you this is how we are, this is how we move, etc., etc. I know other content creators don't do that. So that's on them if they don't do that. That's a scenario for them to get to that point or what have you, just depending on whatever it is. We're speaking here with us. We're speaking here with you all on how you can move with the people in your community. The same thing. If you're transparent with them and then they respond in a certain way, hey, if they get the dismissive side of you, whichever role you want to play. Hey, you told them what it is. It's different if you didn't say a word and they don't know and they trying to figure it out and they go there. Okay, at that point, you got to be honest and tell them, hey, I'm like this, et cetera, et cetera. If you respond in just some passive aggressiveness, it's going to create confusion, as I said earlier. So then they're going
Hmm.
to be like, well, wait a minute, you never told me that you want me to be straight up with you, or you never told me this or that. And now you're getting
Hmm.
passive aggressive with me. And I'm trying to figure out, like, it just creates confusion.
It
Like,
do. That's why I said I already tell people what I'm about, like for the most part. Now, whether you believe it or not, or you have a different perception of it, that's on you. But I've already told you. That's one thing about me that I pride myself on. That's one of my core beliefs is to let people know who I am. So ain't no surprises. You're not gonna be shocked. I've already told you. So it's on you on how you deal with the situation. Hey Joe, how you react to it, that's on you. But I just let you know that's what it is. And yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I think this year, like I told you, there's a lot of things that I'm working on, but this one in particular, um, I find myself sometimes I struggle with people understanding that with me being assertive, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. If I really was mean, it would be aggressive, would be blunt, but when I'm assertive, I'm letting you know what's going on, how I feel about a situation, what I like, what I do not like. Please don't do this. Please do this. So I'm letting you know it is up to you to either receive it or not. But I know for me, I know me personally, I don't want to be a passive aggressive person. Um, and I either, like I said, I either want to be tell you assertive, tell you the truth. If now, like I said, there is cases where you might have to be aggressive, but for the most part, you should be able to be assertive, get your point across without you having to go and go to blows with people. But
facts.
it does come to that point, depending on who you're talking to and what the situation is. So um, I think people just need to act accordingly and pay very close attention when you are dealing with a straight shooter. If a person is telling you what they like or don't do this, believe them. They're giving you the cheat sheet. And when you're in school, sometimes you have some notes, you call it a cheat sheet where you can
Yes.
go over to pass the test. People like me, we're already telling you, we're giving you a cheat sheet. So there won't be no misunderstanding. And what I don't like when you got people that will, try and they use that passive aggressive to try to check you. That's another thing I don't like. Don't do that with
Yeah.
me, boo. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, people lose me every time when they do shit like, when they do stuff like that, because my bullshit detector, and it comes on, then the walls start rising up. Then when that 10 foot, that 12, I'm gonna say 12-foot wall kind of come up, don't be shocked, because see, I've already told you. It
Yeah.
makes me very uneasy. And it starts because when we do that to each other, it causes unnecessary conflict. It causes more and more confusion. And some things end before they even start.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all about my friend. I got a guy friend. His name is Swift. Sometimes y'all may see him in the chat. One of the most dopest people I've ever met. And the reason why I say he's so dope is he is so straightforward. He doesn't do anything in ill intent, maliciously. When he talks from the heart. If he cares for you, he'll let you know he cares for you. He'll let you know his intentions. And that is the type of people I like dealing with. If he got an issue with me, yo, Selena, however they talk in New York, I can't do that accent. Yo, we gotta talk, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I receive that so much better when I have people like that, a woman or a man, especially if you are going to get to know someone romantically. That is something everybody needs that. They need somebody that can just be upfront with where they are, who they are, what they want. And when I talk to Swift, he's like, yo, I'm doing this. Oh, what do you want to do? What you like? It's just real, like, straight up. I love people like that. I have women friends that are like, that, as well as men.
Yeah.
And I deal with those people very well. They just tell me what it is. I ain't gotta wonder. I ain't gotta read through no code.
No manual. Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gotta do none of that. Like, he's just real straight up. And I was telling him today, because we're gonna hang out pretty soon. And I was like, I just gotta tell you, I appreciate you. And he was like, it's not a big deal. I said, yeah, it's a very big deal. I said, because when you're dealing with a world sometimes full of people that pretend like they one way, but they come off another way, it makes you lose faith in people sometimes. It makes you highly irritable. And it almost makes you not want to deal with people and get to know new people, right? So when I deal with people like that, like Swift and other people that have that type of mindset, it really makes me at ease, because he's telling me who he is. He's telling me what's going on, and he's telling me what he wants. All of that means a lot to me. I don't like dealing with a man or a woman that I have to do codes with. I have to find out. They have some Egyptian kind of manuscript that I have to go through and figure out what the hell is going on. And if you feel this way, and if he feels a way, he'd be like, hey, give me a call, because he knows I work, right? Or he'll call me and say, hey, I need to ask you this. What's going on with this? Or we need to go over that, that kind of thing. And I appreciate that so much. I really do. And I wish more and more people would be that way. You know what I'm saying? I think relationships would be better. platonic, romantically, business wise, whether you're on the internet, wherever you are, if people were more like that, you'll know where people coming from. We already got to figure out people as we deal with folks. And sometimes, like, it can be a hassle, but that's what we do. If we want to get to know people,
Right.
we can't live in a under a rock. So when you're dealing with people, new people, you got to get to know folks. And when and the best people, like I told you, is the best people are the people that tell you who they are. They're not telling you what they want you to believe. They're telling you, I got a temper. I can be anxious sometimes. I'm scared, or I'm a little selfish at times. Things like that. Like just be upfront with me.
Facts. I mean, that's especially in relationships, y'all. Let me tell you something. There's so many guys. The worst that you can do is lie to a woman. I don't care what you're trying to engage in when it comes to, we're talking about like romance, we're talking about love, what have you, in the love department. I don't care what you're trying to have with a woman. If you lie to her, it's done. And so many, again, simps.
So does that make you have bad judgment if a man lies to you? Because if you're getting to know people, you're learning people. So does that mean that you have a lack in judgment? I'm just asking.
Well, I'll say this. If you're just like when you're just starting out, getting to know somebody, so we'll say from day one to, a couple months or what have you, just depending on how much time you spend together, you're getting to know that person. So it's an area of trying to figure out these things. If this agrees with you, if that doesn't agree with you, if this is going to work, that's not going to work. So you have a little leeway then, because y'all trying to figure things out and get to know if it's okay to go there, etc. But if you've gotten past that initial phase, sometimes the time frame varies. For some people, it's less than the 3 months. For some people, it's longer than 3 months. Might take a year. This depends on the nature of the interaction. It's kind of like a case by case basis. When you get past that stage, then if it's still a bunch of confusions or inconsistencies or lies, then you want to start questioning. Like at that point, that's when you would start to ask questions. Okay, we've been kicking it for a couple of months, 6 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever the time frame is. Okay, you seem to not be available with this. Is this something you got going on you want to share with me? Like that would be a critical time if you plan on having anything serious to start finding a way to ask those questions or be involved with those questions. Because if you don't, then you're going to find yourself in a situation of, wait a minute, I thought it was this. And the other person's going to think the same thing. Well, she was cool with it or he cool with it because they didn't ask me and say anything. So it's staying true to that honesty. I wouldn't say that in the very beginning a person lacks judgment, because you're trying to get to know a person. So it's some stuff, your BS meter is gonna go off right away, and you're gonna be like, I can't do this. This is not gonna work. But some people play a game. You got long distance relationships, close relationships. Some people are available daily. Some people they only see a person once a week, twice a month. Just depends on the scenario. So it takes longer sometimes to figure that out. But once you start to see some things and it's not consistent, again, that consistency. If you're telling her, hey, I'm a very upfront person, like you've been saying, Selena, so that person should know that about you up front. Hey, it is what it is. I like oh my goodness, can't believe I forgot his name. What's Swift?
Yeah,
You said
Swift.
Swift, like for instance, my bad, like Swift. He tells it as it is. So if you know if a person, people have different layers. Some people tell it as it is, some people take a little bit longer. So you got to weigh all that into what type of person are you dealing with, and do you ultimately want to deal with a person like that, period? Regardless, you got to be true to yourself. Do I want to be involved with a person that's like this, that doesn't tell me everything up front? Is there anything about this person that has more pros than that particular con? I mean, if they do, then hey. If not, you got to be honest with yourself. Like, hey, this ain't gonna work. But people
Mhm.
don't stay true to who they are, and that's what I want people to understand. Stay true to who you are. For instance, Rollo has been staying true, and he knows this, and he probably gonna be laughing about it. But he had to stay true to something where he said he's not dating any women from the north right now. And he kind of tried to, as they say, put your feet in the water. In the swimming pool, he tried to put his feet in the water with that. And he was like, "Man, yeah, see that's why I said I can't go there."
Mhm.
Things like that. You
Mhm.
know who you are, so we got to stay true with who you are. The problem is we compromise who we are. You can't change who you are to be with somebody. You be with somebody, and they help you to be more of who you are. That's how it's supposed to work.
Mhm. Okay, before Rollo speaks, I did make anybody that had questions, you can either put them in the chat or you can come up. I did pin the link at the very top, so you're more than welcome. Rollo, thank you for joining us. You want to come up?
Well, thank you for having me on, Selena. I don't want
Yeah,
to bust both of your bubbles, but it's about 95 over here right now.
it's 95.
I'll take my 61 degrees. I'm
Yeah, I
straight.
will too. What do you have to add to this conversation, Rollo?
All I could tell you is this. If the person is not upfront with you from the get-go, cut them off 2025. No more excuses. You got to be with somebody that matches your energy, matches where you're going, and they want to go places with you. If not, bye-bye.
Right.
I don't care if it's a long-term relationship, short-term relationship. Once the person, you have to put them through a test. You know where I'm about to go with this, Brainwaves and Selena. Now, we deal with the opposite sex. Fellas, if you're going to deal with a woman, put a stack right there. See how she responds to that. Because if she can't respond to that respectfully to your 1,000 you send her, then she's not ready to have children with you, and she's definitely not ready for the big time. A lot of ladies say they're ready for big time, but they're not really ready for big time. They talk it. I want to see actions. 2025 is no action. There's no talking.
Mm.
I'm not playing. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm doing it. I'm here now. I'm back in the Sunshine State. Oh, yeah. The
Right.
best state in America. The number one. Uno. It's too much going on for people to be playing games and fear relationships. I don't know. Asking people that don't have good relationships, any little thing that goes for the ladies can speak on the man too. Any little thing that your partner is doing, the Most High gonna let you reveal. It's gonna let you see it all. That's why I don't go by what people say. I go by actions.
Right.
And so, like what Brainwave said, and I laugh because the reason why I don't deal with the Northern State chicks particularly is because they got too much of a cold way about themselves. They're not really to let themselves be more admirant than what they say they are. You get what I'm saying? It's too many people closed in and want to stay at a certain step. They scared to go to that next step. They scared to be successful because they've been putting so much fear in people's lives. Oh, he gonna be successful. She gonna be successful. They taking the oath. Not everybody that's rich and successful take the oath.
Facts.
Not everybody that's rich and successful had to do different things to get it. Because of all this confusion, there's a lot of people confused. So when they finally meet somebody that's really doing it, let's say, instance, I sent Selena something she never thought she would send. At first, you're going to be shocked, like, whoa, I didn't expect that. You should expect that. What is this? I didn't expect that type of mentality. That's what's going on the internet, too. People be like, oh, I'm surprised I got this. You should expect these things. If the Most High said he going to feed us more than the birds and the animals, you should expect big things to happen. Stop being in fear. Stop being in doubt. You can't be around me if you're in that.
Right.
Facts.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. Basically, is and that's for anything in life, not just romantically. It's like
Yeah.
either you for me or you not, or step on or step off, whichever one you want. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, and I think we all have to. People need to get to that point where it's like it's no time for play. Um, just people just need to be real. You know what I'm saying? Me, I need to be real. Everybody need to be real. We all need to be real. So I think at this, like I said, this coming year, I'm just really becoming to the point where I'm just like, you know what? I'm definitely going to work on some things, and communication is one of those things. And but as much as you work on it, sometimes it don't mean the other person is there. So, or they're not trying to work on it. So you
Say that
definitely,
again. Say that again to the
yeah.
people. You just dropping gems. Say that again, Nina. Come on now. Step it up. Let's go.
As much as you're working on it, it doesn't mean the other person is. So sometimes you will, not everybody's at the same level. And I get that. Not everybody grows differently. Everybody grows at different levels on different things. But if you're not trying to grow too, then you're not, to me, it's like you're going to stay stagnant. And that's what you have to be careful of. You can't be stagnant. You can't keep going the same way you were as 2024, 2023, 2022, and go on. It just comes a point where you just have to make a decision on how you want your life, what you want to do, how you want to be, and go forth in it. And so, I was talking a lot of, I think you were there, Rollo, when I was talking about how I can't dwell in fear anymore. Sometimes I was telling Brainwaves that now some things is a good fear. And what I mean, but let me explain it. Fear of God, fear of him, like as far as respect for him. Not doing everything you feel, want to do just because you want to do it. Like you have a fear, you have a conscience of consequences and the things that come with your actions. Then the other fear also is some fear when something is dangerous and you're heading in the right direction, you're heading in the wrong direction, right? And so that healthy fear is to stop you from going in the wrong direction or dealing with the wrong person. So there's that type of fear. Then this other fear is what keeps you in bondage, where you can't try new things. You can't get out of your comfort zone. You can't meet different type of people. You can't explore options that or go into your dreams that you want to do and be, and not have any fear to hold you back from moving forward in your life, whether it's career, whether it's your personal life, romantically, whatever you've been wanting to do, and you have been allowing fear to keep you stagnated, to keep you in bondage. That's different. So there is some actually healthy, I think, type of fear, and then there's some unhealthy type of fear. And what I wanted to get rid of this year, ending of this year, beginning of next year, is to get rid of fear, to get out of my comfort zone, to do things differently than I did last year, and actually to work on my communication skills so that I can have healthier relationships with people.
Absolutely.
So those are the things that I'm definitely working on, that I see that there's a need that I have to work on. And it really, and something you said today, O Speaks said it yesterday, and you did Brainwaves. You were talking about you have to go based on what you need rather than what you want.
Yes.
Right.
And one of the things that people talk about, they say, I want balance in my life, right? Some people don't even know what they're talking about. But for me, balance, I would say for me is, I know I'm going to have trials and tribulations, but in the sense of, even though I have trials and tribulations, how do I learn from them? How do I grow from them? How do I find the good and the joy in it? How do I, know how to maneuver even though I'm going through? and still be a pleasant person, not be hateful and mad at the world because I feel like life is unfair. I think balance is really just knowing our needs, what we really need, and not all of our wants, and being okay when we don't get all of our wants, but still being grateful. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, I'm no, as I date now and I'm dating more, I'm learning to look at more of my needs rather than my wants. My wants would be a tall man, okay, that has some money that want to spend it on me, right? That's a want.
Hold on. You know, I'm glad you said that, right?
But let me finish. Let me finish, Carlo. My need is someone that is a leader, that helps, that knows how to manage money. That's a need. Wants and needs, we got to look at that sometimes because we get lost in wants rather than what we need. I need somebody to bring the best out of me, not the worst. So just because he may look good, will he bring the best out of me or the worst? Will I always be in fear that he's always talking to other women, or will I be satisfied with the fact that he shows me that he makes me feel secure, even though I should be secure within myself? He shows me that you don't have to worry about anything. I'm here for you, you know. There's things that we need and there's things that we want, and we definitely need to know the difference. I don't know if I articulated properly, but I hope that you understand what I'm saying. Hey, CX.
I definitely want to say something because I got to go because I have a couple of calls coming in I have to, get with. I want to say, Selena, it's interesting you say that. What you want and what you need is two different things, right? The main thing you have to sit and look at is, are you ready? Because if you want a certain guy with a certain status, he's going to talk to other ladies because it's his way of doing things. Now, if he has a respect for you, of course he's going to have a respect for you. So anyway you go with this man, before you meet this man, know that somebody know him before you know him, just like somebody know you before he knows you. So you got to go into the situation as, okay, let's see where this goes. Let's give it a little bit of time. And then within that time frame, you're going to find out, is this person really matching with you?
Right. And so that's what I want to explain. It's not that I know he's not going to see other women and know other women before me. That would be unrealistic. Right.
Right.
So what I'm talking about, as far as like, there's some that I have always said on my end, I don't like flirtatious men with every, you know how some men are just flirtatious and you don't even know, you like, this man got a whole wife or a whole girlfriend. They out there just flirting their ass off. That's the difference.
I got you on that. Yeah, I do tend to agree with that, because the reason why I tend to agree with that is because you don't know everybody's attention of when you flirt with them. Not everybody could take it, you know what I'm saying? They're going to take it the wrong way. So you have to be cognizant of who you're flirting with, who you're dealing with, you know?
Right. So, yeah, because I'm realistic.
Yeah,
I know men look, and I know men. But see, what I'm saying when I was talking about secure, is like, it's my job to be secure within myself, correct? That's my job.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
But also it helps. See, that's what I got to clear up, because people say, well, you got to be, I already know that. What I'm saying is, it's my job to be secure. It is also him to, I feel like, to me, to set a standard for the relationship by showing me that I'm his woman. You understand what I'm saying? That I'm gonna
tell you how you know you were his woman.
No, but let me finish. But I'm not trying to say that he cannot say hello or open the door for another woman. Nothing like, I'm not talking about nothing like that. That would be being being very insecure. If you that that type of person, they can't hold the door for another woman, they can't say hello, they can't glance at I mean, that's not realistic to me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. But what I'm saying is, when a man is with you, there should be no wondering that you are his and he is yours. That's all I'm saying. So I
Now,
have
if
to
you, that,
articulate.
I got you. If you are, if any woman is wondering, the relationship is over. I'm just gonna be real.
Right.
If I'm showing you better than I could tell you, notice what I say. If I'm showing you better than I could tell you, and that's showing you better than I could tell you, it's not making you secure with me, yeah, walk away. That's the best thing you could do, because I cannot force. All I could do is show. And if it's not hitting you right, somebody else, may the best person win. Because at this point of our life, we got to be on the same page. As I stated earlier, if we're not on the same page, that's like if I'm insecure, if I was to talk to you and get to know you and I'm insecure, you have every right to walk away. Why? Because I should not be insecure. If I'm in it, I'm in it. It's like Jordan. Jordan was in it to win it. Even though he wasn't feeling well, he showed that he could play through the sickness. That's winning. That's that real winning. When you go through a certain change, that change. So like, let's say if you get with somebody, he's about to go through a change. That person you know today, a few years from now, he's starting to adjust. It's adjustments. And some people are scared of that adjustment. That fear start kicking in. You got comfortable, everything's going good. Now you got to get ready to pack up and leave and go to another state. It takes people a long time to go from one place to the other, right? Based on instincts. So if you're not used to certain things, then that's why you got to sit down and get to know the person before you get to that next step, before y'all lock in with each other. Because when a person shows you what they do and y'all haven't done anything outside of that, that gives you the opportunity to walk away. Because once you in, the person is going to assume you in. And if you're not in, what are we talking about?
Right. That's a part of being assertive.
Let's not waste each other's time.
I understand what you're saying. And I appreciate that, Rollo. I know you said you had to go, but I do appreciate that as well.
You're welcome to come on my panel. Brainwaves, you already know what time it is.
Right.
I got to make you pause. It's winning season, y'all.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Rollo.
Yes, that's the Rollo signature, y'all.
Okay, Rollo. Goodbye, Rollo.
All right, later.
All right.
Rollo is very interesting character.
That's authentically Rollo, y'all. Hate it or love it, love it or hate it. That's him. When you said, Selena, when you was talking about like okay, I'm gonna use you.
Thank
and
you,
I. I'm gonna use you and I. Thank you, Mindful. Yeah, thank you for hitting that super chat. We appreciate it. I'm gonna use you and I just for the sake of understanding the example that I'm making. So if you and I were dating and we just met and we were just getting started with that, it's my job as the man, as your man, to get to know what areas that you would like to feel secure or have an understanding or knowing in. It's my job to, especially as a man, to figure out what that is. So like in that case, if you want to feel secure in your relationships, then one, it's my job to be aware of that as a man. And then two, if that's actually who I authentically am, the type of guy that would make his woman feel secure in relationships, then I got to be about that business. And I have to not give you any reason to doubt that as you're getting to know me. Now, if I'm not about that, then it's going to show. And it's kind of like what Rollo said. Once you get past that first initial to 3 months time, you start getting 3 to whatever, 6, 9 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, and it's getting more serious. Like, okay, where are we going with this? That's when those certain boxes either got to be checked or they not. Because it's
Right.
not going to work if we go further. We've been lying to ourselves, going further, thinking, well, maybe this will turn out. Maybe this will work. We get the signs, we get the red flags, as you mentioned it, up front. And not just in romantic relationships, but in relationships with people, period. Like you said, you're dealing with somebody, yeah, okay, wait a minute, this person too passive aggressive for me. I ain't said nothing, did anything. This is my first time meeting them. I couldn't have said or done anything because we just met. I'm unaware of this. Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff going on and I'm unaware of. And this person got about 5 minutes or what have you to have a conversation with me or let me know. Or sometimes we'll reach out to the person. Like you said, Selena, you be like, is everything okay? Like, you know, is
Right.
everything to the good? And in those moments, then they lie and they don't tell us. They go in the passive aggressive moment. They be passive aggressive. And then when you call them out or you ask them, oh, everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. And so you thinking, well, they just told me everything's fine, nothing's wrong. But then you have another bout of passive aggressiveness. At that point, sayonara. Like we out. We got more things to focus on and deal with in 2025, and that's not one of them. We not doing that.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it, y'all. You heard Selena say she not doing it, and
I
let me
ain't
tell
doing
you, I know my sis. So if Selena says something, don't be
it. Thank
feeling
you,
some type of
mindful.
way. Hey,
Hmm.
mindful coming through.
Yeah, I appreciate it because I had a goal. I had 5 super chats. I did my goal, so I appreciate you, mindful, and you have a happy new year too.
That's right. Happy New Year to you too, mindful. Thank you for supporting Selena. Appreciate
Yeah.
every last one of y'all to support Selena. Like, this is what we talking about. If y'all real and y'all rock with Selena, then rock with Selena. If you don't rock with Selena, don't rock with Selena. Go where you belong, where it works for you. Go to them platforms. Quit faking the funk and being passive aggressive. If you got an issue, if maybe you did rock with Selena, but now you don't rock with her, either try to clear it up behind the scenes, figure it out, work it out. If you're not willing to do that, hey, go where you know you need to be. But we can't
Right.
be playing these games in 2025. I know people gonna do it. People not gonna hear this message. They're not gonna see this video, no matter how many times we share it to everybody. But that's what we own. And you're gonna see it.
Mhm.
I want y'all to pay attention. Watch in everything you look. Watch the news, watch the media, watch in your community. Watch how people are going to be forced to do this work. Either they're gonna have to go along with something or they're gonna have to get out. Meaning they're gonna have to, you know, make the changes that are necessary to keep something working, or they're gonna have to get out. So you're gonna see things fall apart. You're gonna see adjustments be made because this is the work that we got to do. We gotta look at this. Why are we being passive aggressive? Because we're not being honest with ourselves.
Right. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Mindful
Hey,
coming through
mindful.
here. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
mindful. That's
Mindful
what's
gonna
up.
help me to get to my goal of 5. 5. Thank you so much.
Sheesh. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Somebody love me, but I
I know.
know, like I said, I have good supporters and everything. I'm blessed, so I ain't complaining. But yeah, you're. I mean, it. This was really good. Brainwaves. We getting close to was 2 hours. Uh, can you give me some last words on how I should keep going about, so that I don't, always be assertive, not be passive aggressive. Give me some advice. And some people that actually have issues with communication. Can you give us some advice?
Absolutely. Like I've been saying, like a broken record, and there's a method to the madness. So if I say anything in a repetitive manner, you might want to take note to it.
Mm-hmm.
Stay true to who you are. God made us different, made us unique. We all got different quirks, different perks, etc., etc. So if you know this is authentically you, You got to be true to that. Now, keep in mind that if you're going to be true to who you authentically are, you have to take in consideration that the other person or other people might just be doing the same thing. And if being true to who we are doesn't align with each other or the groups of things we're involved in, then in 2025, maybe we need to reevaluate either how we're going about it or who we're involved with, et cetera, et cetera. This might be the time where you might need to look at changing where you're working, changing what you're doing, changing how everything is going on, because if you don't, you're going to be met with conflict. And you've got to, I'm still live. And you still need to be authentic with that. You can't check, you can't compromise in this area, because if you compromise in this area, this is where you may go into a passive aggressive mode. This
Right.
is where others, as it relates to you and things they're involved with, may go into a passive aggressive mode. And what you want to do is, if you don't have anyone that's in your life that you can trust, that you can look for with guidance, you can start with Selena's platform. She puts out a lot of information. I'm here. You can look at my platform, Rollo. There's other people that put out information. You can go to people privately. If you don't have someone privately that you can talk to, in a confidential manner, then pray and ask that in 2025 that God sends you somebody or somebodies, or maybe it's a group or something that you're involved with, that you can stay true to who you are and what you like and what you don't like. We got to move out of associating with things that are wrong for us and people that are wrong for us, and move into things that are right for us, regardless of what other people say, especially outside of that trusted group, your inner circle, your court of sorts. And don't be afraid to rely on that. Let me mention this as a king. As a king, and I'm going to speak from the perspective of a king. A king is man enough to rely on the people in his court. He talks to his queen. He has a spiritual, religious advisor. He's got a military leader or some type of fighter, a warrior that he goes to. He has other people that have proven themselves worthy of being in his royal court. And he consults those people. He may even consult people outside of his kingdom and talk to those people of other kingdoms that are in those same positions. We cannot be afraid of receiving these types of people in our lives, because they help us stay true to who we are. They help us stay true to the visions that we have. And this is when the scripture says it's not good for man to be alone. This is what it's talking about. So if you don't have anyone like that in the audience, you need to reevaluate and look and see. Maybe don't be afraid to ask us for help on where you can find people. You see what we're about. So most likely there could be people in our community. When you're in the live chats, pay attention to people in the live chat. Some of you see people in the live chat and they may actually align with you. So don't be afraid. Don't move in fear of maybe reaching out to them, because they could be your best asset right in front of you. What you need is right in front of you. We often look everywhere else. It's right in front of you. We're right in front of you. People are right in front of you. The people in your community, they're there. So let's focus on that. Let's move together. Let's not act like we're an island and we don't have to, that we're going to move that way. A lot of people do that, especially men. Especially men. You ladies may reach out because it's socially accepted, but men like, yeah, I'm a man. I can't show any weakness. Rrr. I get it. But behind closed doors, we're human. If we're human, we have weakness. Okay. So find somebody that you can confidentially like reach out to and talk to. I mean, I even do it. That's why I do my life coaching appointments. And we're going to move accordingly, and we're going to help each other be in alignment with that, so that we're not contributing to that passive aggressive nature. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, I appreciate you, Brainwaves, for coming on and sharing with us your perspective of things. And just to be clear, what I'm seeing and what I'm saying, um, I'm not off like off the mark. Like I'm in the I'm going in the right direction, correct? Or what do you think?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you that to Selena, I'm gonna say this to everybody. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Hate it or love it or hate it. You're gonna respect me for saying the authentic truth. If you were off, Selena, I would tell you publicly, I would tell you privately, I will let you know. I don't play that when it comes. Homie, don't play that.
Mm-hmm.
Damon Wayans in Living
Yeah.
Color. Homie, don't play that. So if any of y'all are off or y'all need the hardcore truth, you're gonna get it. You might I can deliver it the right way, and you may not like the fact that I'm telling you the truth, but that's what we need. When they say it'll set you free, it really does. And we need to get free from the bondage of thinking, oh, I can't be my authentic self because somebody will tell me it's wrong. And forget what they say. Forget the narrative. You got to with athletes. Let me. I'm gonna stop talking after this. I know I can talk. I know I can go
Yeah.
on with y'all. When
Yeah.
athletes, when professional athletes, if they're not at the home on their home turf or home court or what have you, they're playing at the opposing team's home turf. They are making noise. They're booing them. They're cheering. They're doing not cheering them. They're cheering the other team, and they're doing everything that they can possibly do to detract from you focusing on your game. So what do you have to do? You have to drown out the noise and focus on the game. You got to talk to your coach, talk to your teammates. This is why I'm speaking it from a sports perspective. You got to find teammates, you got to find people that's going to help you drown out the noise and stay focused on this goal. If you consider this a goal for you to not be passive aggressive and for you to be true authentically who you are, then you got to align yourself with people that's on that mission and drown out the noise. Forget what they say. Don't worry about it because even if you do what they ask you, they still gonna talk.
Right.
So focus on you and do what's best for you. Forget them. They will get the memo eventually.
Right. And with me being your little sister, because we kind of have that type of relationship, sister, brother.
Facts.
What you need to let what you need to let Negroes know about Selena
Well,
Delisha.
I'm gonna say this. This is my sis here. I'm referring to Selena. This is my sis here, and I'm aware of what goes on in the community, whether she tells me or whether I see it. And you all know how we rolling going forward. We're telling y'all right now, and we're gonna continue to tell y'all. So if y'all have a problem with Selena, you need to say something behind the scenes. If you need me to be your wingman, I can do that behind the scenes. If it's
Oh, ain't
gonna
no nothing.
look, I'm all for giving people an opportunity to try to work on any conflict. Even if it doesn't work out, at least people gave it a shot. It's like, hey, we tried, we said this, it just where we are right now, it is what it is, but we tried. So if you need help trying, I don't mind doing that. But I will let you know, I don't take kindly to disrespect, especially when we give you respect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to understand who you dealing with. This my sis now. And I don't take kindly to her being frustrated when it's not that serious, when there's different ways of going about things. So if you could kindly just take heed of some of the things we said, and if you need help, hey, I help you out. I don't care. But let's move accordingly and be respectful to the things that Selena has put out, the things that she shared, the things that she'll share. And, hopefully the same thing goes with us as it relates to you. Let's do this thing right, y'all. We don't need to be beefing. We don't need to be in conflict. It's too much going on and too much that's about to take place in 2025. Shake up, break up, wake up, make up is what I've been saying. If anybody says it, they stealing it from me if they don't shout me out. Shake up, break up, wake up, make up. That's what 2025 is all about. So with all of that on the table, the last thing we need is this conflict. Trust me, y'all, there's so much that we can do collectively that y'all not thinking to get views, to get likes, to get the numbers, to get the money. So if it's about that, man, it's many ways to collaborate and make this thing happen. But we got to lead this here in 2024 and let's move forward. We say Happy New Year to everybody. Let's make it a Happy New Year, right?
Mhm.
And,
And
and
so, I'm not for play, right?
no, she don't play with me, y'all.
And
Right?
I'm not full of bullshit, right?
Hell no.
Okay. I say what I mean, right? I'm
Facts.
just okay.
Selena ain't
I
that
just,
girl, y'all. She ain't that
yeah.
woman. If y'all think she playing game like she acting this, she ain't the one. I'm trying to tell y'all, she ain't the one, and she don't play when it comes to that. So if you're moving like that with her, do not be surprised if you don't get a happy response or a happy outcome if you get a response. Because we're not moving like that. She don't play. I'm trying to tell y'all. So if y'all look, you have a buffer right here, right? Come holler at your boy. Send me a message. You don't understand some, holler at your boy. All right. I know y'all don't know me, but those that know me in the streets. They know me in public. They know me everywhere. I got a reputation. I'm gonna help you out. Now, if you shit on me when I help you out, that's on you, because I tried to help you out and I gave you respect and I gave you an opportunity to better yourself and your situation, your outcome as it relates to Selena, what have you. But let's move right, man. Like, I'm an OG at this. So respect the OG. And some of y'all might be an OG to me, but for most of y'all, I'm an OG in these streets. So hey, and you got an OG willing to help you out. Let's deal accordingly. Let's move accordingly. Let's do this thing right. Let's congratulate. Let's celebrate. It's too much getting out here for us to have this. All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Brainwaves and Rollo. Brainwaves, you always have a special place in my heart. Like I said, you've always been 100 with me, and so have I been with you. And I appreciate you for telling me the truth when I needed to know certain things. I also, I'm thankful that you see me, and you're not making up anything. You're not telling me something good when it's not good. And I appreciate that. I really, really do. And you definitely always will have a special place in my heart because, like I said, even though we haven't been knowing each other for such a long, long time, it's almost like I've known you forever. Like I've been knowing you for a minute, and so I know that this was a divine connection. It wasn't something like fly by night. Some
Yes.
people are you just meant to meet temporarily, and some people you're meant because they're going to play a special part in your life. So I thank you for that.
Your feelings mutual, Selena. And when I say I love you, sis, I mean that.
Oh,
This ain't
I
no.
know.
Yeah, hey, y'all hear me? Yes, that's right. Brainwave said he love his sis. So y'all understand when I tell y'all to move accordingly. If it seems a
Mhm.
little personal, that's because it is. It's because it's my sister, and I don't play. I don't play when it comes to family. Y'all seen Fast and the Furious. Y'all seen Toretto, Dominic. You know how you feel about family. So you know that's how I operate. Um, this is real. Divine connections. Pay attention to divine connections in your life. Are you trying to force a connection, or is it a connection that's actually happening? Pay attention to that, y'all, because that also could be a source of some of our passive aggressiveness. We're trying to force things and it's not meant to happen, or not meant to happen in that way. Maybe you meant to connect with somebody. Maybe they're just friends. Maybe they are lovers. Maybe it's just business. It's just social or what have you. And we're trying to make it into something that it's not designed to be. So it's so many aspects. We need to stay true with who we are, true with the nature of our relationships, how we moving, all of that. And we just need to move accordingly. I mean, that's what's going to make 2025 good for us.
Mhm. Well, love you to Reese's Pieces. Love everybody to Reese's Pieces. I appreciate your donations, whatever it was, whether it was a cash app or super chat. I appreciate your interaction in the chat. I really just appreciate two brothers that showed me some love and respect. I really appreciate these men. Like I said, you guys are definitely leaders, and I definitely that's something that I look forward to as I go about my journey. So I will talk to you later, Brainwaves. Thank you so much for coming through on the chat, y'all. Interacting in the chat. I don't know if I'm going live later on tonight. It's probably going to be a lot of people on live tonight, but just depends on how I feel. I'm pretty much tired of talking, and
Me
so
too.
unless somebody wants to, come up and do all the talking, but most of the time people don't know what to say unless it's about some beef and we talking about a situation. I don't really want to go into that. So yeah, I just don't. Let's go into 2025 really trying to be decent people, better people. If we lack in communication, if we lack in whatever area in our life, let's try to work on that. That goes for everybody, including me, Selena, Delisha. Okay. So shout out to you guys. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you again, my brother Brainwaves. I will be speaking with you a little later. And yeah, we out this piece, honey. Thank you, Tay. I appreciate you. All right. Talk to you guys later. Hold on backstage, Brainwaves.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Selena.
It's a bad baby. Oak Cliff girl. Can't make you change my world. Damn, you're so fine, girl. Oak Cliff girl. Put them heels on and prove my
Welcome to
worth.
Selena's Couch, where you are welcome to be free to be yourself. So you can lay your head on my couch, on my pillows.
It's all good, we can do whatever we wanna do now. I'm in my bag right now, and I got a feeling, babe, yeah. You gon' be my number one lover. Spend the night making love to each other, with the lights on top of the covers. Just me and you, babe. And I feel like you're my
Love you to Reese's Pieces.
Get you a word. Nana boo boo.